guys in the back might want to hear you.
Okay, my name is Charlie. I'm the president of the chapter 1067. And I've been asked to do the prayer. I just want to tell you this, that I was speaking with the chaplain a couple of days ago, and he validated why we need the wall here from a spiritual standpoint. He spoke with a fellow at one of the walls, and he told him, he says, there's no way that God would ever forgive him for the things that he did in Vietnam or were told to do. You know, so you all know better than that. And so that's what I signed up to do, is to make sure that he knows that that is a lie. He can be forgiven, okay? Let's pray. Almighty God, we lift you up in honor and in praise, and thank you for the opportunity that you give us to present this wall that heals to the Tennessee Valley. Help us to accept this assignment and complete the mission on one accord. You know every veteran by name that will visit this wall, Lord. You know their needs, both materially and spiritually. Let this wall be the very thing that take away their hurt, their wound, their guilt, and their pain, and draw them closer to you, that you might grant them the peace that passes all understanding. In the name of Jesus, we pray this prayer. Let the group say, Amen.
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it. Charlie is our chaplain for the Wall That Heals event, so he is going to be our spiritual leader for all 5 days or 4 days that we're going to be here. He is going to be with the team. He is going to be taking care of those veterans that go to the wall and need a little spiritual help. So let's see, there was one other thing. Oh, microphones. Okay, for our team leaders, that mic is hot right now, so use that so the people in back can hear you. For everyone else, I've got these microphones in the center of the table. If you would, hit the button when you want to talk, and this way everyone can hear you. I know if I remove my mic, those in back are going to be going, what? Okay, the acoustics in here are really something. So if you do that, I appreciate it. Feel free to interrupt at any time. Anytime you have a question, let us know. Jen, are we ready? Okay. Let's go to slide 2. Okay, that is something I pulled off the internet. That's our van. Well, I say our van. That's the Wall That Heals van. That's what it looks like with a tractor. So just a little recognition there. So when you see it coming down the road, you know what it is. Next slide. Okay, one of the things I want to look at is we only have 4 more meetings before the event. Okay, I was talking to someone yesterday. They said, oh, it's not until November. The wall actually comes to town on October 30th. Okay, comes into town on Tuesday the 30th. We set it up on Wednesday the 31st. We're more or less open for business on November 1st. The 31st, we will have a soft opening, and I think Norm's got some stuff that he's going to cover on that. So let's not think November and we got plenty of time. We have 4 more meetings, and then it's going to be showtime. So anyways, I'm going to update that. That'll be our countdown calendar every meeting, so we'll see. So next month, it'll be 3 more meetings. Okay, next slide, please. Oh, we want to thank Paul, help me out with your name. Andrew Jeske, okay. Paul, I want to highlight that because his company just made a $2,500 contribution, silver sponsor. So let's give Paul a round of applause. Paul, do you want to say a couple words to our group?
No, it's just a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate it, and you know we're here to help. You know, to get this thing out, to help. Okay, so really appreciate it. Be part of the group. I like to meet everyone, you know, at some point.
Well, thank you so much, and please thank the owners of your company. Appreciate it.
What is their company?
Oh.
I work for Higher Echelon. We're a defense contracting firm. We do leadership, executive coaching, serious educational gaming at the Redstone Arsenal. We do cyber training, instructors. So we have engineering services, IT services, and leadership and executive coaching. So it's a pretty, we're a service-disabled veteran-owned small business, about 95 employees, been in business since 2012, and we're all ex-Army football players that run the company. So I play receiver. quarterback, and the owner is a running back. So we beat Navy like early 90s. That's what we did.
Thank you. Thank you. Next slide, please. Whoops, that's not a lot of sync. Whoops, sorry about that. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, let's go to the video. Jen, if you run that video.
It's a different experience to see it. I've seen a lot of pictures of it all over, I've done a lot of reading about it, but it brings back a lot of memories. But this kids need something to stand up for. This is part of it, because everybody gives their life for something sooner or later.
Vietnam era, everybody that taught me anything in the Army were Vietnam veterans. They were my teachers, my mentors. I think this country owes them a great debt of gratitude for what they went through and what they did.
Good. Thank you, John. Okay, yesterday we had a very important meeting, and I want to thank those of you who were there. Bob Droulet, Bob, you raise your hand. Bob Droulet was there to kind of chair the meeting for us. We had Pete and we had Jen. Let's see, who else did we have there? We had Dave Carney that was there. Who did I miss? I know Charlie was there. Okay. That meeting was with Alabama Public Television. Alabama Public Television is very interested in what we're doing. They want to be part of it. So we met with them, and for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, I mean, it was a long meeting, very successful meeting. They want to be part of our team. What we're hoping for is they will go ahead and do a special on the event, maybe an hour-long special. So anyways, wanted to let you know that the communications team will be working with them. They were very enthusiastic when they left. We gave them a good presentation, kind of an A to Z on what we were doing, told them timelines and everything. So hopefully, we'll follow up with that and continue with that. And if you watch Alabama Public Television, look for advertisements. Well, they don't call them advertisements; they call them public service announcements or something. What?
Intersectional.
I couldn't figure out what that were. Intersectionals, okay, because they can't advertise as public television. So, but anyways, hopefully they'll get the word out, and then once again maybe give us some visibility. They were going directly from our meeting to WLRH, which is our local PBS station, and they were going to talk to them. And then what they were hoping is that they will link up with us and start attending our meetings, so they will get something from WLRH over here. Very good, Jennifer. Next one. We got some exposure thanks to Dave Carney and his team. The Initiatives magazine put out by the Chamber of Commerce. That's the cover right there, and then the articles inside, so we're getting good coverage. Dave is actually holding up the Wall of Faces poster that we talked about during the last meeting. So we want to keep the Wall of Faces drive going. That is to identify pictures with names. We're trying to get 100%. We have, I forgot, Jen, 25?
I forget the number, but we've added a few.
Oh, we added a few.
There are 2 or 3 people who've gone on there from the newspaper articles and things that we've put out that they've gone in them and added, or make sure that there's photos on there.
Very good, yeah. Jen and Dave and the communications team. Last month, we were front page articles in 3 major newspapers in the state. And what we're trying to do once again is put a picture with a name for the wall. We're trying to do 100% across Alabama on that. So thanks to Dave and Jennifer for that effort. Next, please. For those that are new, let me see. We have. If you can't see that, we got the screens over here. Okay. All we're trying to do with this slide is say where are we located. So what we're looking at right here is that straight line or that line at the bottom of the page. Here, okay. Okay, this is South Parkway right here. Airport Road right here. So this is the old airport right over here. And they call it, the Fest area is also called the John Hunt Park. Next picture, next slide. Okay, we blow that up. So here's where we are. South Parkway, Airport Road. Here's the Veterans Museum. Here's the festival area. There's the JC building, okay? That will get you in the ballpark, okay? So that's where we're going to be, and we're going to see more pictures on that a little later on. But once you can get that in your mindset of where we're going to be, it's a beautiful area down there. We have lots of room. So next slide. Okay, I'm going to kick it off, turn it over to operations. Our operations lead is Noah Myers. Mom, you want to use that one or you want this one? Okay, thank you, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I was listening to John earlier, talking to my wife yesterday about you and what you do. And just want to tell you from this old soldier, thank you for all that you've done and where we're going. Great community here. I've got a good team working with me. Would my team stand up, please? Next slide. Arlen Busk, working logistics. Al Watts helping with requirements and scheduling. John Mays is handling our volunteer database. You're going to get a brief on it here real quick, and Veterans Outreach. And John Cooper with the flags and the Patriot Guard, and Ralph Harris in security, and Ricky Laws in the back there. Many of these guys, you can sit down now, many of these guys worked with me at SAIC. Isn't that interesting? Alrighty. I know you probably can't see that slide real good, but the bottom right-hand side there is the block. We're the operations bunch. So sometimes Pete and I don't disagree on this, but we're actually putting the plan together. He thinks he is, I think I am. But what happens on the ground falls within those individuals you just saw. And we're going to do everything humanly possible to make this the best that we possibly can. So I'll give you a brief update a little bit later on what we've actually accomplished. But first I'm going to let John's got to get out of here this morning. He's right here. He's going to give you a demo of the Sign Up Genius. John?
Okay, good morning. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Okay. What we've got is a Sign Up Genius. It's a canned program that I got offline, and it seems to be working pretty well. Let's go ahead and load it up. Okay, this is what it's going to look like when you log on to it. And I'll be sending the links out once we determine that, yeah, these are acceptable, or no, we need to add some more or do something else to it. I've got 2 different databases there. One I'm having with the security and media, and the other one is going to be all the others, the ambassadors, the parking, the setup, tear down, and the counselors. Just easier to maintain that. Those security and media, they're going to do additional vetting to some of the people that sign up, so I thought it would be easiest just to put them separate to make their operation a little bit smoother. Okay, so go down just a little bit. Now that's what they'll see. Like, this is a calendar view, and if you want to see it in a different way, go ahead to list view, and it shows it up a different way. And so you can see by from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock. We're looking for shift leaders on there for day security, night security, and things of that nature there. And it's pretty easy to navigate through these guys on either fashion.
What does the shift leader do? Are they gonna have like descriptions of what the?
Yeah, the shift leader will have special instructions from their team leader and make sure that that's disseminated out to the whole rest of the group and stuff of that nature there. On the security, now they're wanting to run like an 8-hour shift. So I've got that set up differently for the shift leaders. All other shifts are going to be set up pretty much on a 4-hour shift. And on the clock, the time frame, I'm going to run it from 8 o'clock to 12, 12 to 4, 4 to 8, so on and so forth with everybody else. So let's run through it and just see what it takes to be able to do that. Pick, let's say, day security on 12 to 4. Well, yeah. Down here, yeah. Okay, you sign up, so you click what you want to do, and you can click multiple ones, but you don't have to scroll down. You can just go to where it says sign up, submit and sign up. There at the bottom middle.
Tab at the bottom. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, now it's going to, you come into this page, it's going to ask you for, and I've required certain things, and you fill out your information about it. And then once we get all that information in there, and like I say, there's some things requested, so that we can have contact with you. I wanted an email and a phone number, your mobile phone preferably, but if it's a home phone, that's fine too. Then it asks you a couple of questions. Do you have a security background? No. Are you Vietnam veteran? No. And then what shift do you prefer? And so you put in a time there also. You scroll down just a little bit more. Okay, and now it says sign up now. Okay, well, Jan just got signed up, and she just should be getting an email here very shortly saying, hey, thanks for signing up, and we appreciate it. That's how easy that's going to be. Now, I can go, and on the team leaders, I'm going to be giving them information or giving them special links to sign up to this so that they have admin privileges to be able to get reports and things of that nature there so they can manage their own sign-ups. That way, like if they want to do additional vetting, they can pull that up, they can contact that person and say, hey, here's what we want you to do. Whether email them, form, or meet them personally, however they want to work, it doesn't matter. And then, then they can continue with their mission on that. If they decide that person's not the person that they want, they can suggest to them to sign up for something else different, and then they can go into their database and remove that person, and then that slot becomes available again. Now, looking at this, we've got somewhere around 750 slots to fill, and a slot is a 4-hour section, and it doesn't mean we need 750 people, whatever, because I'm sure one guy already signed up for 5 different slots. And that's what I kind of expect. I'm hoping to send this out no later than the 21st to the veterans organizations. And in conference with, talking with Ralph Harris this morning, they've got a few more things they want to do with security. So I'm going to hold off on there. So actually it ended up being worked out pretty good by having those in 2 separate databases. And then we'll send those out at an additional time. And let's see what else. Okay, so that's our sign up. Any questions right there on sign up?
Question.
Yep.
Please add the Military Heritage Commission to your roster to send information out to.
Okay, yeah, please do. What I need you to do is send me an email that has a context with an email and everything on it, or an address that I can contact.
I'll give you a card.
And I apologize, but I'm gonna have to leave shortly after this presentation, but I'll swing back here and pick that card up from.
Who's got it? John, as a team leader, are we gonna be able to send a email to everybody that's populated?
Yep.
Our roster?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can when you download the report, you can export it out to an Excel file or to a CDS file. Any way that you want to export it out so that you can pick that up as a bulk group mail and send it out, or individually.
Okay, you're gonna have to show me how to do that, 'cause I don't know what you just said.
No, okay, no problem. No problem, we'll work with that. Okay, one other thing I want to show you real quick. Over there. Well, now, for the sign-ups, now, what I did on the Vietnam Veterans webpage, our webpage, I set up two different buttons for people to sign up with. One for security and media, the other one for everything else. And it's a quick click on that, and it takes you right out to whatever screen that you want to go to. I'll be sending you all those links so that you can set that up, set your buttons up.
John, how many people per shift are you looking for?
Yes. I really don't have that answer, but it's gonna be a lot. You know, because we're like on Thursdays, we're gonna have at least 15 people there that are gonna be escorting the kids around through the tour. We've got security, we've got parking, we've got the media, we've got the ambassadors and everything. There's gonna be, you know, a good 100 people there at least. And that's one of the thing on the on signing up for the students to assist those. That is going to require a background check, and we'll have to get that information prior to get it sent in. And I believe Huntsville Police is the one that's going to be doing some of that background check for us, and so we can get them qualified before we turn them loose out there with kids.
Are these three positions the only sign-up positions that will be available?
3 positions? No, there's you got security, you got communications, then you got parking, you got.
So there'll be more added to the list.
Ambassadors, yes.
Okay.
And under each hour, each day, it has all the different time frames.
Will there be a description of the duties that people can go look at?
A brief one, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can expand on those too. That's no problem. Good question, good idea.
For example, some of the positions are going to require a little bit of training. If you're going to give a tour to high schoolers, we're going to have little training sessions and a crib sheet for you to what to do and those type of elements on it. That's how we're planning it. So you're not going to walk in cold.
Yeah, and I think the 31st, if I'm not mistaken, I heard that afternoon, there's going to be a big training session there for all the volunteers to give them an initial briefing and everything. And I know that that we're working on a handbook right now that will be going out to them, and it seems like it's going to be a pretty good handbook, what I've seen of it so far. So, other questions? Okay, Jim.
Okay, Jen, if you bring that up full screen. I want to point out a few things to you about our approach versus somewhere else, okay? Next slide, please. Can you go full screen with these? Huh? Oh, down on the bottom right-hand side here. Right there. No, right here. I had some good teachers. When we went up to Cookeville, one of the many places that has been selected and actually put on the wall that heals, this was the entrance. It was a former airfield, so if you could picture 2 roads, basically. And by the way, some similarities to our site, because if you look up an old picture of the airport area down there that John talked about earlier, you actually see in Google Map 2 roads. And of course, that causes trouble for the people up north when they look at what we're doing and say, why are you putting that into roads? Well, there's no roads there. So it's my entrance here, but if you take a look, there are the service flags. And I'll show you later on, our service flags are going to be right by the ceremony, right across from the wall as opposed to at the entrance. Next one. This is the trailer when it's deployed. And next slide. On one side, you can see there's hometown heroes. A lot of work going on by the communications team to fill in where we don't have pictures for our veterans that are on the wall. So they'll be working on that. Next slide. This is on the other side of the trailer, and this is where you go to find out who's on the wall, where they are, pick up rubbing materials, pencils, things like that, so you can go out. And what we're calling ambassadors, those will be the folks that will escort folks out if they need the help. You could just go there on your own and look in this book. You can see they got their hands on it. Next slide. A couple things about this picture that is different from ours, and based on the guidance we got out of Washington, D.C. If you take a look over to the right side, you know, there's well, actually in the center, you see the flags are at half-mast, and there's only a couple of them. They're too close to the wall. Ours will not be that close. The area where the wall is, if you noticed in the video, it's plain. The only difference for us is going to be behind the wall, we're going to have American flags, maybe 13 of them. And as the wall goes up from 2 or 3 inches, it climbs up to 7.5 feet. So will the flags, and then they will go back down. The turf there, the city is going to level the area we're going into. They're putting down brand new sod. My key focus in working with them has been, we have a lot of folks using canes, walkers, they're handicapped in some way, wheelchairs. We have to have a way to actually push those around. When I was there, if you went on that grass, it was soggy, and it's not good if you have a problem walking. This it's kind of like an outdoor carpet. You know, looks a little like AstroGreen or AstroTurf. I don't particularly like it. We are looking at a black. It's similar to the stable, a horse stable, where you have this. It's 3/4 inch rubber. They've got about 100 of them. The city does. Is David DeLister here? Did I miss him? Anyway, David has been fantastic. They're going to spray them clean, and we're looking at possibly, after putting crushed rock down, some kind of base to put those down, and that way when you come off the street and you go walking near the wall. We're still trying to figure out, you see the carpet here, the green carpet's right up against the wall. So if you have a tour with students and there's other folks there, they're going to have to walk out on the grass and all. So we're looking at all these little minor details, but it's coming together. The Parks and Rec Center, they did a good job there. That's all been built just for this one particular event out there to the right, where you see all the brown stone and stuff. Next slide. Well, this caught my eye the other day. I was taking a picture out there. This is where the wall is going to be. It's kind of slopes towards the back. They're going to fix that, and the wall will be this side of what looks like a drain here, right along this area right here. But what got me was, look at that, there's a military installation behind.
That's right.
And that's not clear when the folks up north see the map. And but that's just kind of God breathing some inspiration into this when we're looking at it. Next slide. The city in this area, just to orient you, the red one. All right. The museum is over this way, and the JC building is over here. This street right here, which runs this way, is JC Way. So actually, back there is Joe Davis Stadium. So you come down the street, you turn left. You can see the footers have been laid here for the wall. I'm sorry, the archway that's going to go in. These four, it's kind of like a little shelter area there, and then this is where there's some brick fencing on either side with some wrought iron. Very nicely done. It will be done by August. So one of the nice things for us with the city, they own this. We'll be able to get in there whenever we want. We could put flagpoles up. I just bought 6 flagpoles, 20-foot flagpoles. The city couldn't do that, but and that's for the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, the POW/MIA flag, and looking at buying a taller U.S. Flagpole, one which has the ability to raise and lower the flag. The ones I bought at Harbor Freight, they were a good price, but they're telescopic. They lock in place, so we can put the service flags on those, and then buy a better one. And all this will be moved at some point, and we're hoping that we can move anything we buy over to the museum and reuse it there, like the flags. Next slide. All right, just a real quick, for those that might be here for the first time. Here's the museum up here on the top right. South Memorial Parkway is over this way, Old Airport Road. You can see that. This is JC Way, right down the street here. Here's the JC building. Anyway, our operations and our ceremony tents right here. This is where our flags will be, the service flags right in this area here. And of course, little things like make sure we have power for the lighting of the U.S. flag at nighttime, things like that, working with the city. This was the archway I showed you the footers for. So somewhere in this area here, we'll have to do some agreeing with the folks up north where you're actually going to place the education center. And this is the trailer we talked about earlier, where we want everybody to go to first. Over here, this is where our media and information tent is. This is where we'll have information about all the activities in Huntsville. the memorial downtown and so forth. We'll be passing out information there. And we'll also be policing up the press as they come in to make sure that they're accompanied, that we don't have the press out taking pictures where they shouldn't, things like that. Lots of parking over in this area over here. There's more parking down here for the JC building event down there. There's plenty. We'll have a little shuttle here that if folks, with a tent right here, folks want to go over and visit the museum and it's not comfortable to walk it, they'll be able to hop on the shuttle and go down there. The VA, excuse me, the VA will be up here on the 28th, I believe, from 10 to 12 at the clinic, if you didn't know that. And I'm hoping to have a meeting with them so I can introduce the 3 elements of the VA so that they talk to one another. But we will have one of their vans on site also to provide assistance as needed. That's really kind of it for that slide. I think I just changed the slides on you, Jen. Keep going. Unless there's questions on the site layout. Yeah, Rick?
They're also putting in the street lights and all the conduit and footers.
Go back one. Yeah, there are decorative lights that are being wired in for right down here and also right down here. And I don't want to bore you with details. I mean, we've got carts. We've already got those. I've already put a couple $1,000s down to get those for the period of time we need them. And on this side, we're still looking at whether we're going to have shore power or some generators. And by the way, there's a dirt service road back here which helps us when we have to do anything quick, like move Hempsey out quickly or use our own carts to get around any traffic that might be coming down JC Way here. Yes, sir.
They're actually laying street lights all the way over to the museum. I was driving through there yesterday.
All right, he was saying they'll have street lights all the way over this way too. Okay, thank you. Next slide. All right, now what we're going to do is, you'd be here a couple hours if I turned you loose on each one of my committee leads. So what we'll do each time is have a featured committee, if you will. But just to bring you up to speed, Ralph, you want to stand up? There's our safety and security guy, Ralph. His recent success was we've got the Redstone Harley-Davidson up near Greenbrier as our rally point for escorting the wall in. Now beyond that, we're still figuring out the who, what, where, when, why, of how, and where it goes. We don't have good information from the folks up north to tell us the truck will be at that location at this time on that day. It's hard to make any plans until we get that, but at least we've got that locked down. On the ceremony side, Arlen, would you stand up? Arlen's taken over the ceremony. I don't want to get into too much detail, but suffice it to say on the 1st of November at 6 o'clock in the evening will be our welcoming. It's not an opening ceremony. There is no opening and closing to this. The wall continues on. We're in position to receive it in. So we're going to have a welcoming ceremony, and we figure that 200 to 300 folks may come. We'll do that in the ceremony tent. The ceremony tent across the street from the wall is 40 by 40, and I'll have 2 20 by 30 tents on either side of it for overflow. And they'll be multifunctional. We'll be using those when the students need a place to eat, get out of the weather, or if anyone needs to get out of the weather. The 40 by 40 tent that we will have will convert from the ceremony, the first one, the opening ceremony, so to speak. It's really a welcoming ceremony. And that's where our headquarters will be. And we've got companies going to donate all kinds of stuff to make that one nice, have a little hospitality area. As well as putting some tables and other things in there for use during the rest of the week. The other event is on Sunday at 2 o'clock, and that event will be a field service. And there'll be a M151A1 out there, and the chaplain will do a field service, like many of you experienced years and years ago. More to come on that. Al Watts, please stand up. Al is an old buddy of mine. What were you, artillery? Amen. Yeah, so when you stand next to him, move back about 3 feet, especially if you have hearing aids in. But Al and I get all the leftover things that the rest of the committee doesn't want to do. And Al is heading up the volunteer handbook. We've taken the one from 2000, and sir, we thank the work that they did back in 2000. We're leveraging that and updating it. And we'll be providing that to the core committee soon, let them kick it around. And that's a book that you'll be able to take with you and just look through it and see, okay, what do I do if a motion at the wall, somebody tries to spray paint, on and on. There'll be those kinds of things. And it'll talk a little bit about the shifts and So anyway, more to come on that. That's in the process right now. There'll be SOPs for each of the committees. We're hoping to capture those, and especially looking ahead for someone else down the road. We did not have the opportunity, nor do they have artifacts. You can't go to Washington and say, well, tell me all the things, lessons learned that we should apply. There is no such thing, but we're going to have that for us. And so if they turn anybody on us, and we think we're going to be the premier, #1, most wanted, support organization after this is over, we'll have all that put together. One key thing here on training, there will be several training that will go on. I said earlier, we can get into the JC building on the 29th of October. So on the 30th, the tent's put up by Mullins, the carts start to arrive. We can actually start doing training, and Al will be involved with putting together and being the point of contact just to be the traffic cop on training. Logistics, Ricky, if ever was a guy that likes to get down and dirty, I mean, he'll tell you what size the rubber is on a #2 pencil. And he's an outstanding logistician. I'm glad to bring him on board. So I finally got my team completely on board now. But I told you a little bit about the rental. We got carts, we bought flagpoles, site prep continues, power, don't see any issues with that. We have a handicapped bathroom that will have air conditioning and the steps and everything appropriate for those that are handicapped. The city has been outstanding. Okay, there's a few things that I wish they would have paid for, and I tease them about, but like the flagpoles and things, but very, very minor. They are very, very accommodating. So Ricky and I will be working very hard with David DeLisser. Volunteer database, you've already gotten quite a bit of information on that, and since he's gone, if you have any questions, I'll be here afterwards. Next slide. Okay, questions for me? Yes, sir.
Has anyone coordinated with the Joe Davis Stadium to have their exterior lights on the south side turned on for us for the park?
Okay, his question was about did any coordination take place with Joe Davis Stadium for lighting. I've already coordinated with David to have the portable 80 Ingram generators and lights for parking. The thing they don't want up north, they don't want the solemnness, the what I call mysterioso aspect of the wall with too much lighting. So we're trying to keep it all down.
It's too far away to impact on the wall.
Yes, sir.
These are really good things, and what you just mentioned, exactly what I was looking for. Are these slides available anywhere?
If you shoot me an email, okay, and I'll do a PDF and get it to you.
Yes, sir.
Norm, what are you going to do with all the memorabilia that's going to be left?
Okay, the question, what are we going to do with all the memorabilia? At this point in time, as we go through the day, the events, if we spot something that was a letter written, first thing we're going to do is put in a Ziploc bag. We're going to try and secure it right where it is to leave it there during the event. If somebody was to put a Harley out there, like happened in Washington, D.C., they will sit there during the entire event. What happens afterwards, we're hoping that the museum will open their arms and say, bring us all that stuff, and at some point down the road, we will display it. But that's our current approach.
They have the materials from the previous appearance of the wall. They have all that. They collected that. It's bagged and tagged as to where it was located on the wall and so on.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Absolutely, each ship will be required to document. There's 140 plus paddles, and we'll have to put down where it was. So, but yeah, okay, yes, sir.
Yeah, one of the items, stuff left over, memorabilia, since we're having the continuing every year now, the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, some of that memorabilia that we've collected might be something that we could display at the JC's building this year, and later on, the following years, stuff we collected this year. Because some of it's appropriate, some of it will be old stuff.
Good point, Bill.
Okay.
Yeah, think about adding a Gold Star banner flag.
Yeah.
Since everybody on the wall is deceased, the Gold Star banner flag.
3x5, same as the other ones. I'll make sure you get one.
Okay. Any other questions? Again, I'll be here afterwards. We pretty much put a lock now on new bright ideas. There's all kinds of stuff keep coming up. We can't take on any more new. We're trying to work with what we got and run that to ground now. So Pete would tell you, we're trying to lock down what we're doing. So, I mean, a good idea is a good idea no matter when it's brought up, but just, you know, some stuff now at this point, we just can't entertain anymore. I mean, there's not going to be a band. You know, the AMC band's dissolved anyway, unfortunately. And we get a lot of single individual singers want to come do things, but we've actually got an a cappella chorus coming in to sing a couple songs at the appropriate times for the two major ceremonies on the 1st and the 4th. But my sincere thanks to everybody here, and we have tried to answer. I'm still answering great ideas. There's just a few that haven't gotten to. Individuals wanted to do private things that really were not associated with the American Legion or the Vietnam chapter, things like that. There's just too many of them. We can't accommodate that and do it right. But one last thought for you on ceremonies. There are groups out there, 40 to 60, I guess, different veterans groups around the Huntsville area. And on the evening of Friday and Saturday, if the American Legion, the chapter, if somebody wants to go over and put their artificial wreath that they have, that they use all the time over inside where the wall is going to be, that's the nights we'll be doing that. And so we're open to that, and that will work. All right, and that's, unless you have a question for me, that's it for now. Yeah? Oh, Ralph, I'm sorry. Okay, Ralph has one. Go ahead, Ralph. Get up and let them know what you need.
Okay, I'm working on the sign up for the safety and security teams. And what we're looking to do, and you need to understand this, the event is just not from the 1st through the 4th. It's from the 28th to the 5th that we're going to need certain levels of security. Everywhere from 2 guys on site up to 11. So there are 4-hour shifts, except for the daytime shift leader, because we want to maintain continuity. He will be from 08 to 1600, but the shifts will change. To try to simplify this and not have, we have 272 individual slots. We have 44-hour shifts we need to cover. The first thing we want to do to try to block out these shifts is to get organizations to sponsor a shift. For instance, Paul out of Higher Echelon, if you would like to sponsor a shift, a 4-hour shift or 2 4-hour shifts or whatever, we can block you out for First Echelon, can cover this period of time. I'm not looking to get names to fill all those slots at this point, because who knows who's available 4 months from now. But if First Echelon is going to sponsor that, then they're going to lock in, hey, we'll have 10 guys there on this time. Okay? Same thing with Patriot Guard, Vietnam Veterans Association. And to try to get that going, because I want to block out by organization as much as this is possible before we go to the public to fill in the individual slots. So Coop has got this sheet same as I. We're going to hand this out. If you have an organization that would like to sponsor a shift, I can't tell you what shift it is, because once we get all the volunteer groups in the database, then I will send out what's available and what we've got. Then you guys will fill in those slots. I don't think we're going to have a problem filling slots between 08 and 2000. The challenge may be from 2000 to 08. So not everybody can get prime time slots. We're going to need help at night, because like we mentioned, the wall is going to be open 24 hours a day. So we're going to need safety and security guys, not to the same number, but between 08 or 2000 to 0800 in the morning, we're still going to need people out there. So you can't get the best slots. I know people want to be out there during the day. We're going to need help starting on Sunday all the way through Monday morning when they come pick up the equipment. Somebody's got to watch that stuff that's out there, because the guys and gals in here are on the hook for a lot of that stuff that's out there. Okay? So if you could, if you're a member of an organization that would like to commit that you can provide a certain number of people, please give me your name, phone number, address, not your address, email address, and we'll develop a list. We'll get it out to you as quickly as we can. Okay? And then we'll start filling these slots. From the 28th through the 5th, we will have security requirements. And they're going to vary depending on what's going on out there. Of course, during the day, from the 1st through the 4th, is our largest number of people we're going to have out there between 08 and 2000. Because that's when we feel the most, the wall's going to be visited the most. Okay? So, again, this is going to be floating around. If you belong to a group, an organization, a corporation, or you got 10 buddies that want to do it, that's fine, and we will get you signed up for a shift. I'm trying to work with Coop and the Patriot Guards to provide the majority of the team leaders for each shift. That way we have a continuity of supervision and instruction, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel every 4 hours for another group of guys coming in with a new shift supervisor. Okay, so that should make life easier for everybody. Okay, any questions?
Have you talked to the Huntsville Police and Sheriff Department? They have volunteers, they have veterans.
Right. We've already coordinated with them, and the city's going to support us, and the Sheriff Reserve is going to support us as well. But you're only talking onesies and twosies. Yeah.
Security going to be armed?
No. Brought up a question, is security going to be armed? No.
Not.
Okay? Now, we are going to post rules before you enter the park. Prohibited items, prohibited, loud music, no weapons, proper attire. Part of the security guys is to kind of look and make sure people aren't violating that. Then we're going to have another standard at the archway when people walk towards the wall. There's going to be another standard in there. It's a quiet area. It's a solemn area. Okay? So those are all the kinds of things that the security guys are going to watch. We cannot, well, for liability purposes, we need to say no weapons allowed, except if you're law enforcement. Now, what somebody does, hey, nobody's going to get searched, but for liability purposes for this organization and the wall that heals, no weapons allowed. Okay? So, yes, sir.
Yeah, one thing, over a lot of the displays in the JC building, there are weapons.
That's fine.
That's going to be a different area. I think all of them are deactivated.
That's fine. Yep. Tom Brown is going to be responsible for the security within the JC building. Part of our resources we need, volunteers, are going to be in the JC building to help with that security.
Yeah, I'll talk a little more on that.
Yeah, I know there's some issues with that, but as far as what we're doing for the park, it's a separate issue.
Yeah.
Just a couple comments. Tom Brown has taken the fire fence either removed or it's cut in half. Next thing is the Huntsville Police Department is in charge of security. Ralph is not responsible to do the job of the Huntsville Police Department. What you're hearing here is our additional efforts to help them, to reduce their manpower. We'll be working with them and meeting with them as soon as we lock the site down. They did not want us to meet with them too early and get them engaged and then go change things. Everything from the escort right into the walls. The third thing I would say is the city has insurance. And we are also looking at liability insurance. It's a co-shared thing. It's not clear to me personally, so I have a lot of questions, but there will be insurance coverage for the event. But first and foremost, this function is co-owned by the city. And of course, their real estate, their police department, all those kind of things. And it's a fantastic relationship, by the way. So, all good things.
Ralph, thank you. Walt, did you have a question?
Yes, just a general question. What is considered our hometown geographical area?
Good question.
Team, we got a response to that?
I'd say it's northern. We don't do it that way. I don't want to get into the escort situation, but think about this. If we take that tractor trailer through Athens and don't take it through Decatur, don't take it through Madison, don't take it through
I don't mean that, Norm. I mean, you have pictures and everything else coming up. If somebody lives in Scottsboro, or somebody lives in Coleman, or somebody lives out towards Florence, where do you cut off the hometown heroes?
It's the state. I'm sorry. It's the state of Alabama heroes. if you're talking about the
Okay,
heroes on the
that
wall.
wasn't clear.
It's done by state, okay, sorry. But by the way, on the escorts, we're still dealing with that issue, all right? There's a lot of animosity towards the city of Huntsville because it's soon to be the #1, right? And then you go and then, where is the wall? It's in Huntsville. Well, where do we take the escort of the trailer through? So we're still looking at all those things and trying to be politically correct.
Good question. Okay, any other questions before we move on?
I need you guys to sign up for this thing, okay? You guys, a lot of representatives from clubs and groups, and if you got 300 or 400 members and we're looking for 10, I would hope you'd be able to support something like that. Okay, so I mean, so please sign up.
Our next speaker is going to be Laura Ayers, the Education Committee Lead. Laura, all yours.
Hey everybody.
Hey.
All right. So in front of you, you'll find a piece of paper. It says education on one side, the wall that heals - Huntsville. So 2 points I want you to take away from here are, this is how you get teachers to sign up. The first one is education field trips, and that's how you get teachers to sign up. The second thing is the education teaching resources, and that website, it covers those topics. The reason why I put it out in this media is to help get the word out. The #1 thing is we only can take 20 buses, okay? So the biggest push in education is at least getting the teachers to teach the curriculum within their classrooms. Because we have over 89 schools that are in driving distance, but we can only take 20 buses. So if one school brings 2 bus loads, then I'm down to 18. So the really major push has to be, let's get it into the curriculum with the teachers. And so this is how the teachers on their own can go and download the material. It's free. We are going to keep the website on the education side up to date with more material, and Jen will be talking about that as she comes up. So that's why you have this piece of paper. On the corner is my email address, my phone number. If you need a street address, there is one provided there. So you can contact me this way. On to the next. Okay, so again, the website for the education portion is twth-huntsville.com/educators with an S. And that's repeated on the piece of paper I gave you. Also, on the back of these cards are the QR symbols, which a lot of the teachers nowadays, you know, new technology, they just clip on it with their phone and it'll take them right to our website, right where the teaching material is. On to the next slide. So, where we're at, the things that are ongoing. When we coordinate with the teachers, if they sign up or want to do a 2-day curriculum in their class, the first day will be the material online. The second day, when they coordinate back with me, is I will be coordinating for veterans to go into the school system. So part of the veteran sign-up website for education will be an area where I'll be pulling in from there also to identify people to go to the schools. Number 2 that's going on, we have a program where we're asking teachers to have the students go talk, interview a neighbor, their uncle, their grandfather, whoever's a veteran in their community, write up a little story about that and submit it to us. We have already gotten the trophies that we will be awarding to the different grade levels, 6th through 12th. So at some point, we have these nice, beautiful trophies. We will be awarding trophies. So at some point, I'll need some nice volunteers maybe to read over some of the submittals so that we can pick the ones that we most like. And then the Painted Rock is another project that we'll have going on shortly. That's during the school year. And again, This will feed into something Jen's gonna tell you all about. The Facebook page, the back of the rocks will have our Facebook address, and the front will be the students will be allowed to decorate them themselves and leave them at a veteran's gravesite, give it to another veteran, or just keep the rock themselves. But it's a way to get them to reach out into their community towards their veterans. Any questions? Yes, thank you. Jen has the wonderful job on our website. You're up.
Spell my name again for the umpteenth time.
Hi again, I'm Zig Jastrzewski. My name is again misspelled. That's the problem of being a Polish fighter pilot. Now, one thing about a fighter pilot, I used it before more than once. You can tell a fighter pilot, but you can't tell him much. Real quickly, we're involved with the JC and the 50th anniversary. I'm not going to go into a lot of the other items and displays that we were doing. But part of our problem we were dealing with was when Laura lays on up to 800 kids coming through to the building for 2 days, you start figuring out what the heck you're going to do. And the idea was to set up an element of what the history of the Vietnam War is. Your first problem is there is no real history of the Vietnam War when you get it. There's more books and opinions than you can chase down. So you begin to start looking at that type of thing. Now, we're blessed in one sense. I have Dr. Kennedy, who just happens to be a historian involved with laying things out. So we're looking at different elements. So one of the issues are, why don't you push the button over for me? One more, is how we were going to lay it out. Now, you remember, we were talking about bringing 8 panels, large 4x6 panels of basic history, and lay those out. If you look on the board up there, you can see how the panels are going. Now, as we draft these things out and look at what we want to present, we're changing our opinion, what we want to show. So the main areas that we're looking at are the 8 elements down on the left. It needs to be very large, 4x8 panels. Now, one thing about all this information and the panels and posters we're going to be talking about, they're going to be semi-permanent. These are reusable. We're not building things on pieces of cardboard. We're going to actually print them on vinyl so we can use them over in the museum or use them for follow-on next year. So these will be available to everybody in it. And additionally, we're now talking about putting together a short book, at least a booklet, of laying this out so other educators and other people can actually step through it. But the main points we were talking about doing are right down on the left side, World War II and the colonial period. You know, how many people know that we flew aircraft support for Dien Bien Phu and French? Yeah, something Truman and Eisenhower did. We supported the French. Right through Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson build-up, draft. I'll give you examples of both these type of things. 1068, Vietnam War at home, which was a change in Vietnamization, the Easter Offensive 72, and the aftermath of the war. Those are the main points that we're looking at. The right-hand side, it says the amplifying subjects or poster boards. So you'll have a large poster, then you'll have extra boards laying around for specific subjects. For example, the draft and the elements of that type of thing. Those are not locked down by no means, and they'll probably add and subtract to that list. Why don't you hit it again? Now, this is a draft of what we're talking about on a 4x6 major poster. It lays out the major points into it. Now, this draft will be given to graphics here around the 1st of August, 15th of August, and we have graphic support that will make a professional layout of this. The key that we're looking at right now is what are the text and major points that need to be put in each one of those subjects and what those subjects would be. This is to lay out what we're looking at, the major historical points, and how U.S. participation. For example, here, we supported Ho Chi Minh during the Japanese occupation of Indochina. Wild Bill Donovan and the boys had actually people supporting there. And they asked for our support. And some pictures and elements on that to keep it graphic. The idea is a guide can take through those 8 steps, take a student through and give them a feeling for all the action and what happened over that period of the Vietnam War. Why don't you hit it one more time? This is an example of what we're looking at, a poster board, elements on that, pictures, and up on top left on your side, that little letter, that's a greetings letter, a real one. So yeah, how many of you got a greetings letter somewhere along the line? You know what I'm talking about. But the elements on the draft, and then we're going to have facts and figures on it. You know, what are the percentages of people were drafted? How many were there? What's their racial background? The elements on that. And one of the things that you stumble through as you walk through, there's a lot of mythology or myths about the war that have been perpetuated by the news media and are taught today that are not true. And we're going to try to highlight some of those elements on it. But that's real quickly. We are planning on, like I mentioned before, Ed Kennedy is going to be bringing out 20 tables of memorabilia from there. So Ralph, if you wanted to know what a North Vietnamese mess kit looks like, Ed probably has it.
He does.
That's good. Thank you, Zig. Next slide.
Quick question.
Go.
Have you had a chance to look at all the posters and map material that's available from the 50th commemoration website?
Yeah, we've looked at a lot of that. We're looking at more of it. One of the things we're stumbling about, why don't you back up about the big poster, this one. When you build something this large, okay, and there's a couple of other products into it, you take something from the web or elements on it, one of those pictures, the DPI, dots per inch, density of the picture, if you blow it up that way, it'll wash out. So you got to buy a commercial high definition type picture to do that. We've set that up with the graphics folks. We know how to go get some of that stuff. So it's going to change. You can build posters like this very easy using information off the web. And believe me, I've stolen a lot of it off the web. But when you go to the big stuff as a permanent type of thing, you're going to have to get commercial high definition.
Yeah, you can get the posters, and we have them for our displays, but they're not nearly as big as what you're talking about. They're just regular poster size stuff, and they have good material.
Yeah. Now again, like I said, we're trying to think of a permanent type of thing. So an outline on it and for the elements on it. And you all see this in about 2 months, what all these elements are. But we're working on that right now. And as you know, when you go through a process like this, you draft, throw it out, draft, throw it out, draft, throw it out. So we're in that process right now.
Very good. Any other questions? Good, Zig, thank you very much. Next presenter is our fiscal management lead, Ray Zimmerman. Ray, all yours, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Very quickly, next slide. This is a chart that I've shown every meeting that we've had. Where's this? We're,
red button.
Uh-oh. That is a red button. There it is. Okay. Basically, what we've got here is we've got this initial budget. We've got funding to date right here. We've got the red line, which is our actuals to date. These numbers are in constant flux. Fat fingers. Okay. At this point, this was as of last night, we were 64% funded of our budget, which is this line right here, which means we're short $22.4 thousand. As of this morning, I've received another check for $100, and I found out also this morning there's another $1,000 check in the pipeline somewhere, so I have to find out exactly where it is in the pipeline. The key thing here is that now we're about $21,000 short of our budget, but you also have to recognize this budget's kind of fluid. I mean, as we work this project more and more and more, we realize there's other things we're going to have. So is that budget number going to increase? Probably so. We're still early in the phases of identifying everything that we need. The key thing here is the fact that Brian is shooting for a $75,000 contribution, and right now we're about $32,000 short of that level. So keep in mind that we still need more money, about $30,000 more to reach the level that Brian is shooting for. Will that funding everything, I think we're a little bit short. Okay, next slide. These are the numbers. Again, I've had to update these since last night. So the current income is, and I'll include the $1,000 I just found out about this morning. Current budget is current income is $42,916. So you can see that has changed. That leaves us a current balance of $29,872. And there is another $1,000. That $3,500 is now $1,000 because some more came in yesterday. So the balance right now with pledges is right at $30,000. With a budget of $61,000, we're about $30,000 short. I think that should be next slide, please. Okay. As many of you know, I think you know, we have moved the holder of our funds from AUSA over to the Huntsville Madison County Veterans Memorial. So if you are making a contribution, and we need more contributions, please send it to this address. Okay. Questions?
Yeah, you need to go back a slide.
Go back a slide. That one right there? Okay.
That's the one.
And Jen, is that on our website?
I don't remember if I have the actual address on there.
I think it is.
I think it is somewhere.
I think it is, yeah.
But you can also click. I'll show you many. You can click through and PayPal.
Again, the key thing is if you have contributions, anybody that's asking you about where to make a contribution, please send it to this address.
With the memo line.
Yeah, and make sure on your memo line it says the wall that heals.
I'm gonna make a point, you go to the Wall That Heals line, get a donation for the one that goes to Washington, not us.
If you go to the national website, it would go to the national account. Yes, that's a good point. Make sure that you're sending it to the local account. Other questions? Anybody need more time? I'm done. Thank you.
We'll leave that up a minute. Sig has an alibi.
Oh, yeah, I want to mention one thing. One of the things that we're going to be doing about the request of the 50th anniversary folks is oral histories. And there will be an oral history session set up for over 3 days, for both Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And they'll be roughly a half-hour, 45-minute sessions with somebody from the 50th anniversary. And these will go into their library, possibly the Smithsonian Library, for the oral histories of Vietnam. So they're looking for individuals to come out and sit down with them, and I'm sure they're going to be taking video of you at the same time. There is a dirty rumor floating around because of him that Joe Galloway is going to do all those interviews. I just can't believe Joe's going to sit down for 3 days talking to guys like you. Anyway, that may be happening to some degree. But we'll be looking for people, names to volunteer for that and bring those oral histories to it. And you know, your stories are important to people. If you've never done one of these things, it can be an interesting example. I got involved with the folks about 7 years ago up in Washington. I went in for a half-hour interview and came out 2 to 2.5 hours later. So they'll do a lot of things and talk to you about you. And you can basically pour out whatever you want to do, good, bad, and the ugly on it. So I highly recommend doing it because you guys have stories that the rest of us don't even know about. But somebody 10, 20 years from now can learn from them. And that's the key. Thank you.
What organization was going to do that, Steve?
The 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War Group.
Commemorative Partner Program.
Yeah.
There's a
Commemorative Partners.
There's a group over in Atlanta. There's an organization in Atlanta called Witness to War.
Don't know them.
And they do interviews of all wars, and they post the interview. They'll give you a CD of the interview. The interviews run about 2 hours. They set them up for 2 hours. They get you have to write up your experiences. You have to give bulletized experiences, what you want to talk about. So the interviewer He does a very good job of asking you the right questions so that it jogs your memory to talk about those experiences that you've jotted down. And they post a lot of that stuff on their website. You can go to witnesstowar.org and look at thousands of video snippets of people from, I don't think they don't have World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and on up of interviews they've done. I don't know whether they'd be interested or whether you're interested in having another set of interviewers over here or not.
Well, we need about 25 to 30 interviews is what we're looking at right now, here locally. And this is not something new around town. I don't know if this has happened to me. Bob Jones High School, matter of fact, I went out one time where they, one of the teachers had set up with their classes for their students to do interviews of veterans. And I guess there was about 10 of us or 12 of us who went out there and they actually interviewed us up there for it. Go ahead.
Zig, the Military Heritage Commission has been doing interviews of the Hall of Hero inductees. Those are available.
Yeah. When we get the tape on, well, we already talked about that.
Sparkman High School has done the same thing.
The same thing? Yeah. And, you know, kids want to know, and I'll be very frank with you, some of the lessons and some of the stuff I've seen, even with the education, they don't really teach the Vietnam War. They teach some things that come out, you know, what the press is. And I don't know if you've read some of the stuff lately, but there was a whole series of articles, I think came out through USA Today and everything else. And it started out that Walter Cronkite lose the war in Vietnam. So people and historians are now looking at a lot of those events. So it's changed. Any other questions? Thank you.
But if you want to be part of this group of about 25 to 30, see Zig, give them your name and contact number. We need about 25 to 30 volunteers to have their stories done. So now is the time to go ahead and get on the list with Zig, okay? We're looking at having the interviews done over 3 days. So we're looking at roughly 8 per day. Some interviews may only go 30 minutes, some may go 2 hours. We don't know. It just depends on how much you as the interviewee want to go ahead and share your stories and stuff. But anyway, Zig is the point of contact on that. Zig and I have a meeting or a conference call immediately following this meeting with the guys in Washington to talk about this very thing, okay? Okay, our next speaker is Mr. Brian Dawson, who's in charge of sponsorship and fundraising. Sir?
Can everybody hear me? Okay, now. Everybody's been listening to all this great, wonderful stuff, educational stuff. You know, when you're a grandfather, you think about your grandkids and what have they learned, and you know, we talk about the spiritual stuff, and we all have friends and family members who need that spiritual healing. There's 1,001 good reasons for us to be doing what we're doing, but all of this good stuff takes money, and you saw Ray's slide. So if you have particularly corporate sponsorship leads for me, please communicate those. John May sent me Huntsville Hospital, particularly if you have somebody on the inside, because it's a whole lot easier to get companies to write checks when somebody on the inside wants it done, as opposed to me trying to sell them or someone else. We have had some issues with tracking receipt of sponsorship money, which should be resolved within the next 3 to 5 days, Ray. We hope. If not, somebody's gonna die. And then we'll turn the big hitters loose, and I thank them for volunteering. So if you have a lead, get it to me. If you don't have my phone number or email address, send it to John or Pete, and they'll get it to me. Any questions?
Okay, no questions. Okay, thank you, Brian. Okay, next. Pete is not here. Pete had to leave early. His grandchildren are graduating from space camp this morning. Aviation challenge. So, yes. So I believe what Jennifer is looking for is her slides. Keep going, down. Get through Norm's slides. Down, down, down. I think you were right after Norm. Yep. Laura, no, did you go too far? See? Okay. Dave is not here today, so Jennifer is Dave today, so.
Okay, can you hear me?
You look a lot better than me.
I thought you were sleeping, Dave.
Okay, so, one of the nice things about having the internet is that we can spread the word really far and wide, but we need your help to do that. Has everybody been to the website at least once to see? Okay, so, probably won't go through, get out of this real quick. Okay, one of the things that we've done on the website to try to help get people connected that way is the sign-up boxes. If you fill this out and click subscribe, it'll automatically subscribe you to the newsletter. I think most of you signed up physically on paper last time. You should be getting that. But if you know anyone, if you're trying to share it with people, this would be a great way to get them into the newsletter system so they're getting something every time that something is posted on the blog. That will populate in their email automatically. They don't necessarily have to go out to the website every time to see what's going on. One of the quicker and easier ways, of course, is social media. So pretty much everybody's on email. How many people are on Facebook? Anybody on Twitter? Anybody on Instagram? Okay, so all of your grandkids, I'm sure, are on all of those. And one of the things that we need to do is start spreading the word beyond this room on social media. So, if you're willing, going through on Facebook, we have the Ball That Heals Facebook page, which I did not have a chance to get to on here. Let's see if I can, but see if it'll work since I'm not logged in. Okay. So everything is branded across all these different platforms. We've got the same green color and everything. So anybody who goes to any of them should see roughly the same thing. When I put things on the blog, I then populate it out to the other ones. So you don't necessarily have to be on all of them to see the things, but if you're on one and you can share it with family and friends, that's great. I've got a little cheat sheet for you that kind of walks through, if you haven't used these before, Facebook, I'm not gonna go into too much because I'm not gonna go in depth on any of these, but if you are interested in getting on to Twitter or Instagram or anything, let me know and I can work with you and I will drag you kicking and screaming into the internet. But at a minimum, if you can share with family, friends, grandkids especially, that these pages are out here. We have one on Facebook. Let's see if I can real quick show you what it looks like. And we have links. Everything is linked together. So if you basically from the website, you can get to each of these, and I don't remember what our deal is here. All right. Not gonna cooperate. It is, and yeah, if you got it, okay. The main idea here is whether you're using it or not, just spreading the word and getting it out and getting people, if they are not, if they're not on here, I mean, if you're not on here, asking me, asking kids, grandkids, whatever, so that we can like and share and spread. We have, when I post things on these different websites, I tag the chamber, I tag Huntsville, whoever I can think of to get them involved. As we go forward, we'll have more things on here that will hopefully engage them. We'll post questions, polls, things like, what unit did you serve in? What was your favorite USO tour show? Trying to get people who are on, veterans who are on there engaged, but then I'll put stuff on there for the younger kids, trying to get them interested in the history of it. Does anybody have any questions about what you've seen on the website or on Facebook or anything?
No, I got one comment. She has done an absolutely fantastic job pulling all our technology.
I had intended this to be a little bit more instructional, but I didn't have time to set it up before we got started. Yes?
Just one other point.
Sure.
If you go on to Facebook, I scanned in our little brochure, and in Facebook they have a thing in there called events.
Yes.
And they have the beer place, they have the Panoply, they whatever concerts are in the area, and you can put in keywords. And so
right.
I've scanned in our little brochure, put in a lot of keywords and the date, just the same dates as on the brochure. So if you go there and you accept that event, you can tell everybody on your friends list that you're going to go participate in this.
Right, and
that will send them a notification.
Yeah, we'll have, through the Facebook page, we'll have an event. Once we have a little more information about the times for the ceremonies and everything, we'll put all that in there so we can get people to say that they're coming, and whether they're coming or not. It shares every time you do something on there, it'll share out to your friends and family. So they'll see you're interested in this event or you're going to this event, and that'll help to continue to spread it. So the main thing is, if you are on any of these and you see something pop up from the Wall That Heals Huntsville, click like. That's one way to do it. Click share. When you share it, it'll populate out into the feeds of all the people that you're connected to, and then hopefully they'll continue sharing it beyond that. If you see something you want to make a comment, feel free, as appropriate, to comment on any of these things. That'll also engage and tell Facebook that people are interested in what's going on, and it'll start putting us up a little bit higher in rankings and things. So, yes?
Yeah, Jennifer, I'm Bob Druckman. I'm the publisher of South Huntsville Neighbors, and we're actually going to be doing an article in October about the wall, and doing some lead-up articles to that. David Carney and I have been in touch with John. So, if there's something that you need from me or I need from you, we should definitely communicate.
Absolutely. If you have a card before we leave, then that would be fantastic. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks.
All right. Let me see. Does anybody else have any questions about communications, media, social media, things we're doing, things you're seeing? Have you guys seen some of the articles that are out, the Chamber magazine, everything? And some of those things, they're pretty much all are online. So if you go to the Chamber magazine online, you can click through to the website from there. So the more we can click those links and share and push it out there, the better. The more people will see it.
I'll get my grandkids to teach me.
They can teach you. Like I said, I am free. I know we're running a little short on time, so I don't want to get too deep into it today. But I am more than happy to show you and help you set up accounts as you need to or anything. So.
Good.
Okay.
Jen, thank you very much. And she has done a Herculean job on she's working all day and then half the night, so on. So Jen, thank you very much. So, Jen, let's go toward the end and we'll wrap up. I think I've got everybody. I think we're right down to the end. Okay, yeah, I had a couple backup slides, Jen, so we'll go up to about 52, I think. Okay, right there. Okay, now, we're about done. I say we're about done. Yes, we're done. Okay, did you sign in? Because if you sign in and put down your email address or give me something, I will put you on distribution to remind you about the next meeting. Let's see, and then the thing is, did you receive my meeting notice? I know we're adding people, every meeting we're adding new names. And you can see by some of you that we didn't have your name tags ready. I try to upgrade that every month, so next time you have a name tag, and that's one way of tracking who's attending. Is there any information you'd like to hear from next meeting? If you've got any suggestions, shoot them to me. I will talk to my committee. Norm mentioned earlier that we're going to have like one of his committee members do an in-depth presentation to bring you up on all the details. So if you can, don't miss any meetings, because each meeting is going to be different. Next slide. The next meeting, mark your calendars, is Friday, July 20th. That's roughly a month from now, okay? I know I had people saying, are we meeting at the first Friday of the month? No, we kind of got out of sync. So what I'm doing is like every 4 weeks now. So mark your calendars, same time. And then, and I put down there less than 5 months. Yes, we're actually down to about 4 months, okay? So any last alibis before we conclude the meeting? Yes, Ralph.
I got 13 different organizations that have signed up for potential security shifts. I had some questions from other groups, people that weren't quite sure they wanted to do this yet. So if you would, write down my name and my cell number. Give me a call if your organization would like to support. Okay? My name is Ralph Harris, 256-682-9779. 256-682-9779. Okay, I know some of you can't speak for your organization at this point, but call me if your organization would like to sponsor. Give me a point of contact, email address, etc., and then we'll go from there. But thank you for the participation so far. It's a good job. Thanks.
Good, Ralph. Thank you very much. I want to thank our committee members, our committee leads for their hard work. Some of these people put 20, 30 hours in per week. And this is all volunteer work, so no one's getting paid, so I really do appreciate our volunteers. And I appreciate you for taking time out from for attending our meeting. So if there's no alibis once, twice, 3 times. Thank you very much for coming. Our committee leads will hang around for a while if you want to talk to them. We appreciate it. Have a good day.
General, you're back in town.
Yeah.
Passing through the laundry and heading out again.